Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today we are going to be doing our March reading wrap-up. So Mandy, let's talk about March. How was March?
March was much better at the beginning of the month. I read 27 books this month and 8 were 5-star reads.
Okay, so mine was the opposite, where the end of the month was better than the first part of the month for me. I read 38 books this month. I didn't count how many 5-star reads I had. There weren't that many, let me tell you. Like, it was hard to come up with my top 5 because there weren't a lot of 5-star reads for me. We're going to go in order from 5 to 1 of our favorite books from the month.
Okay.
So my number 5 is Once We Were Starlight by Mia Sheridan. This is the story of Garvis and Jacquelyn. So this one is not what I thought it was going to be at all. I got to go this way. It's not what I thought it was going to be at all. So we start out, and Garvis and Jacquelyn, as far as they can remember, have lived in the desert, like in the Middle East, in the desert, in this place they call Sandara. And in my mind, I picture it as like a circus for sex acts, because everybody's kind of paired up. They are talked about as the twins. They look a lot alike when they're young, and so they refer to them as brother and sister, the twins, the half of each other's star. They're not related. It's just like their show thing. And then they have like the really tiny, they call him Spider, like skinny guy with the overweight woman. They bring in a little person. Like it's one of those things where there's all these acts, and people come, really wealthy men come in to watch them. And so as far as she knows, this is the way of life. Like, this is how it is. It's all she can remember. And then one day something happens and they get to leave this area. Definitely check triggers for this. There are some huge trigger warnings in this book. But she goes to New York to live with her uncle. Jacquelyn gets to go to New York as well. They put him up in like a halfway house kind of a thing. And this is their story. They have to deal with the trauma of what they've been through. They have to deal with how are they together in this real world when she has been so sheltered her whole life. She has no clue what real life is like. How do they deal with the trauma of what has been done to them? And ultimately, can their love survive this? Because they really truly love each other. So it was such a good book. It was such a good read. Again, not what I thought it was going to be, but so good.
Okay, so my top, what would it be? Number 5 book of March was Craving Constellations by Nicole, Jacquelyn. And this was from convincing my bestie to read Secret Pregnancy.
Yes.
And so this is Brenna. She and her 4-year-old daughter are leaving her extremely abusive husband. And she's going back to her dad, who is the vice president of a motorcycle club. And that's where she actually grew up. And when they get there, a lot of stuff is going to unfold, because Dragon is also an MC member in this club, and he did not know it at the time, but they had a one-night stand together, and he did not know. He knew about the one-night stand. Sorry, that's he did not know she was the VP's daughter. And then she just disappeared right after that and has not been back since then. So she shows up, and her dad is surprised to see her, and he is surprised to see that she has a 4-year-old daughter. He had no idea. And Dragon is even more surprised because the 4-year-old daughter looks just like him and is his. Mm-hmm. And that is this book. At the end, I really wanted more. Like, I wanted more from this couple. I really enjoyed this book.
Yeah, I did too when I read it. It was a top read for me that year. So loved it. Loved it. Okay, so my number 4 is Our Way by T.L. Swan. This is the story of Nathan and Eliza. So when the book starts, Nathan and Eliza have met 10 years earlier, and they have been best friends. So Nathan has only ever been with men. He tells her that, she's not his type, meaning she's not the right gender for him when they meet, because there is an attraction there. But he's only ever been with men. He's only had one real relationship, and then he's had like one-night stands, or guys that he just hooks up with. So no real relationships other than that one. And so then we come up, you know, we're starting 10 years later. They're best friends. He stays at her house all the time. He's a heart surgeon who developed this heart mechanism that's made him a lot of money. So he's extremely wealthy, but he chooses to stay at her crappy little apartment all the time. She's a nurse. And they sleep in the same bed together. They see each other in their underwear and stuff all the time. They, you know, like spoon at night when they sleep, and nothing has ever happened. They refer to each other as honey and babe, but again, not the right gender for him. So nothing's happened. For her birthday, he surprises her with this trip. I think it was to like a Spanish island. It was somewhere across the way, over the water. And so she goes to find a bikini. She takes him shopping with her. She tries on this gold bikini and he gets a boner. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. That is not supposed to happen. Wrong. And so he has to deal with his feelings. Like, he goes to see a counselor. So he's got to deal with, like, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? He never refers to himself as gay. But he's like, you know, why is this happening? This has never happened before. And then their relationship situation. There is a situation that happens in here when he's pretty sure that he really likes Eliza. And he's like, I think I could be attracted to women. So he tests it out on another woman. I know a lot of people have talked about this in the book. I too did not like that situation, but I was able to look past it. So, but yeah, 5 stars. Love their story. I loved the topics that were covered in the story. So it was great.
Okay, my number 4 book is a little bit of an older book, but I absolutely love this. It's On the Island by Tracy Garvis Graves. This is Anna and TJ. Anna is 30, TJ is 16, and Anna is a teacher, and she's been in the same relationship for many, many years, and she's growing kind of frustrated that the relationship is not moving forward. She's ready for marriage, and she's ready for kids, and she's just kind of been stuck waiting for this to happen. And so she decides to take this job opportunity to go stay on an island for the summer and be TJ's tutor. TJ is recently in remission. And so to be able to stay where he's at in high school and not have to repeat a grade, he needs to work and study over the summer. Through a series of events, TJ and Anna are traveling together where his parents have already gone to this island. And they're on a little seaplane headed towards the island when their pilot has a heart attack and dies, and they crash into the ocean. And this is a survival story. And romance actually doesn't start with these two for quite some time, but I was so captivated by them surviving on this island and just thinking, like, what would I do? Like, how would this work? Like, I really felt like I was there with them. So I loved that aspect of this book. And it was really like, I loved it. I was like really into it. And so this is their story. And eventually they do fall in love. And it's so good. So good. Mm-hmm. And then obviously they do get rescued many years later. And then once they're back, how does this work out? Because she is significantly older than him.
Yeah. It was good.
Very good.
Very good. Okay. So my number 3 is 8 Seconds to Fly by Grace McGinty. This is a Why Choose romance. It is a Why Choose bull rider romance. So down for it. So this is about Tessa May. Her dad, she grew up with her dad and her, it was just the two of them. He raised bulls for the rodeo and for the bull riding events in the rodeo. And all she's ever wanted to be is a bull rider. But, you know, it's kind of like the Good Old Boys Club and there's not a lot of female bull riders. So at this point in time, there just really isn't female bull riders. And so a tragedy happens after her very first ride, which takes her away from her 2 friends that she grew up with. And she, there's a couple of years separation between them. And then I think it jumps 3 or 4 years. And then she's in the circus. She's trying to make a name for herself. She has a best friend at this point, which is Frankie. And he is the, basically he's like, they don't call them rodeo clowns anymore. They call them the bullfighters, I guess is what they are. But it's like the rodeo clown situation. So he's the one that helps, protect the writers. And so he's always there with her. He's always protecting her. And she ends up having a one-night stand with this guy who is like the top guy in the rodeo circuit, won the buckle the year before. And then on her first day of getting into like the big leagues, she walks in, and not only are her two close friends from growing up there, which are guys, by the way, one's a medic for this thing, and then the other one is another one of the top bull riders, but so is the guy she had the one night stand with. And so then there you go. So she's got Frankie too. So you get all four of them. It's great. But at the heart of the story, what it is it's a woman trying to make a name for herself in a profession that we just don't normally see women in. And I love that for Tessa, it wasn't a matter of like, I'm going to be the best that there is, and I'm going to get the gold, and I'm going to do whatever, like get the gold buckle and do, like be number one. No, it was more, I want to pave a way for other girls. And we see a lot of that. And she's like, I don't want to be number one. I just want to be included. I just want to do it. Definitely check trigger warnings. There is some scenes in here that would not be cool for some people. There is attempted assault. So definitely check triggers. But I don't know why I sat on that one so long. I love that one. That was good. It's great.
So my number 3 book is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I know.
It's been almost 26 years of friendship, and I'm not sure that we can withstand this. This is a huge bump in our road, okay? Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, I loved this book. I know that you talk about Colleen Hoover and being like very mainstream, but the whole plot to this book was so different than anything I've read before. So Kenna,
you do you, Mandy. You do you.
Kenna is just getting out of prison for manslaughter of the love of her life, Scotty. And when she's in prison, she gives birth to their baby, and Scotty's parents get custody of the baby, and her rights are terminated. And she's actually okay with Scotty's parents raising the baby because they raised Scotty and he was perfect. And so she is okay with this. All she wants is to get to be a part of her daughter's life in some way. She just wants to see her daughter and somehow fit into her life. And so she goes back to where Scotty's parents are raising her daughter, DM, and she meets this guy, and things kind of happen between them before she knows his name. And once she finds out his name is Ledger, she puts it together that this is actually Scotty's best friend. And he ends up finding out pretty quickly who she is, and he is not happy at all that she's back or any of this stuff. But then Ledger starts having this nagging feeling of kind of like, what would Scotty think of this? Scotty loved Brenna. So how would Scotty feel about how he's treating Brenna? How would Scotty feel about how her parents are treating Brenna? And it was involuntary manslaughter. So it wasn't like she like purposely killed him, but she still is the responsible party. And so this is just her and Ledger trying to find they have a connection, and Ledger's then stuck in this point. Like, if I pursue something with Brenna, I am betraying Scotty's parents. If I shut her out and push her away, then I'm betraying Scotty. And he's just stuck in this really tough predicament of what's the right thing to do in this situation. It was incredibly emotional read. I cried a lot, but I absolutely love the book.
Okay.
Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. You can like what you like.
Really? Because you just read our friendship.
It was a joke.
Was it?
Kind of.
I'm going to start getting hate mail.
We've been through worse. We can survive this too.
I don't know. Have we? Have we been through worse?
Brain tumor, mastectomy. I think we've been through worse. Oh, 2 brain tumors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're a close second, but we'll get through.
I know those were just trials, though, in our lives, not necessarily like things
in our friendship.
Friendship.
Yeah, maybe we can't survive this. I don't know. We'll be okay. Don't worry, guys. We'll get through this. Okay. All right. So my number 2. Just like Mandy with Colleen Hoover in this book, she's gonna loathe me for picking white shoes romances all the time. But so this one is Second to the Right by T.S. Kinley. If you read this, this is the first in a series. It's not completed yet, but if you read this, I'm gonna strongly suggest that you go and subscribe to their newsletter, because you can get the novella Beyond the Veil before, and read it before you start. The novella is a prequel. It just kind of helps you understand some more of the book. You don't have to, but it just kind of helps, I think. But anyhow, this is a White Shoes Peter Pan retelling. This is the best one that I've read so far. And yes, I have read the extremely popular one. But this one, I really, really enjoyed it. So when we start with this book, Peter goes and gets the descendant of Wendy. Time moves different in Neverland than it does here in our world. And so Wendy is long dead. But Peter made a promise to Wendy that he would always bring the daughters of Wendy back for spring cleaning and the May Day party that they always have every year in Neverland. And he's really been obsessing over this Gwen, who is like the great-great-granddaughter or whatever of Wendy at this point. And so he goes and gets her. In the meantime, Gwen has caught her boyfriend cheating, and she's drunk and she's having a hard time. Her sister... she caught him that night that Peter comes. Her sister is dying of cancer. Her parents have died about 5 years before. And so she is the sole caregiver for her older sister, who is just about to go on to hospice. So she's really at the end of her life. And so Peter shows up when she's in a very weak moment, and she's not really able to consent to go to Neverland, but he takes her anyway. It's all good. Just takes her anyway. Do check triggers, guys. Check triggers. Always check triggers on any books that I'm recommending. Let's just put that out there. So anyhow, he takes her to Neverland, where she meets the Lost Boys. Peter grew up, and he grew up good looking, and so did the Lost Boys. But Captain Hook is there, and he's not an old crudgety old man either, so he's pretty hot. Go to their Instagram, T.S. Kinley's Instagram or TikTok page, and just watch a few of their videos. That's all you're gonna need to know. That's all you're gonna need to know. So, but just remember, when you're in Neverland, you start to forget. I forgot about this in the story, the actual story. You forget about your life outside of Neverland. So she starts to forget, and then there's all this stuff that happens. It's so good. It's great. Tinkerbell is not in this one. She's been gone for a while. There's a new one. So, loved it. Next.
Okay, my number 2 read for the month of March is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This, again, is a very emotional book. Apparently, I just really needed emotional reads this month. I don't know.
Really?
So this is about Macy and Elliot, and this book is told, it's like you're reading 2 stories. So Macy and Elliot in the past, and Macy and Elliot in the present. And so we're doing the flashbacks back and forth. And sometimes those books work really well, and sometimes they don't. This one it worked really, really well for. And so Macy and Elliot, we know, were very good, best friends, and something happened between the two of them, and they have not spoken in many years. And they run into each other at a coffee shop, and that same spark and chemistry is still there. The love for each other is still there. And so this is them trying to kind of repair some of that and maybe get some of that friendship back, and possibly more. But the catch in this is that Macy is actually currently engaged, but she is in a very stale, just going through the motions type relationship. And so it's so emotional. And there are things that happen in this book that I did not see coming. And the tears, just came. It is such a powerful read. I absolutely loved it.
You like to cry books. I'm a apparently cold-hearted, and when it comes to books, I can't just cry.
I know.
We've covered this. I don't like it because I'm not cold-hearted, I promise.
Uh-huh. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So my number 1, and this was hard because I didn't have a lot of 5 stars. So my number 1 is actually the second book in the Peter Pan retelling. It's Straight On Till Morning by T.S. Kinley. And so in this one, Gwen is back. There's a situation where she has to go home, and now she's headed back, was trying to get back to Neverland. Her sister is on hospice, and they've almost lost her a couple times, and they've discovered that there is something in the fairy dust, not necessarily fairy dust, but fae, which there's a whole thing with fae in here. So you got your fairies and your fae, two different things, that can help heal her. And so they're desperately trying to get back to Neverland in this story. There's shifters in this one. We meet the Neverland shifters, which I told the authors that I would really like a Neverland shifters book. So that was cute. This is written by two sisters. So, and I've messaged them a couple times about the books, and they've been very kind. They're very sweet. So run out, read it. It's so good. It's obviously ends on a cliffhanger because we don't have the third book, but we're promised the third book either late spring or early summer. So I'm holding them to that promise.
I hate having to wait.
I do too. This one, the cliffhanger wasn't so huge. Like I'm trying to keep it fresh in my mind because the minute it comes out, I'm taking the day off. I'm reading. So what was your number one book?
Okay, my number one book was Irish Kiss by Sienna Blake. This is everything. There's age gap, there's angst, there's taboo, there's forbidden romance. It is just absolutely fantastic. So this follows Saoirse, and she has a horrific home life. Her mom is just awful, and her dad's in prison. And so one day she's hanging out outside with some older boys in the neighborhood, and they're smoking pot, and they're like, do you want to try it? And so she reluctantly is like, fine. And so she tries it, and what do you know? The police show up and they run off and leave her.
How that sounds like something that would happen to us if we ever tried it.
So she gets picked up by the cops and is taken downtown. Her mom can't be bothered to come down there. And so she ends up getting assigned a juvenile liaison officer. And so this takes place in Ireland. And she gets this officer assigned to her, and he immediately just sympathizes with her because she's growing up in this crap hole. Nobody's looking out for her, and she is incredibly smart. And so he takes an interest in just trying to get her through school and to graduate. And so he feels like if I can be a positive influence on her, things are going to go well. Well, this is also told in flashbacks. And so we go forward in time to where something else, something has happened, and they have not spoken to each other in several years. And she is now almost 18, and she gets herself in trouble again for something. It's not a huge offense, but because she already had this other offense, she ends up getting assigned another juvenile liaison officer, and she is living in a different part of Ireland at this time. And guess who also is living in a different part of Ireland? Dearman. And so she is assigned to him again, and there's all this tension, and then this is their love story of how this works out. But you have the forbidden part because he's her juvenile liaison officer, and oh my gosh, it was so fantastic. So if you like age gap, angst, a little bit of that forbidden taboo romance, this book does not disappoint. It is so incredibly good. I've read the next couple of books in this series, and they're all fantastic as well. So, and they're very standalone-ish. They're just they're friends, and so you see them, but you won't miss anything if you read them out of order. I don't think. It's still fantastic to read them in order. They're so good. I really struggled with not putting all of them in my top 5.
Yeah. That's definitely on my list of books to read. So.
Oh, yay. You should. It will not disappoint.
All right, guys. So that is our top 5 books each for the month of March. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can be entered into our Road to 1K giveaway. We are giving away some amazing prizes as we're trying to build our channel.
Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for more videos from us.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.